New documents indicate that Everest College, and specifically Corinthian Colleges, Inc., which is the major company that Everest College falls under, have been falsifying the number of job placements that their colleges have been successful in. So to give you a specific example, job placement rates will include people who have studied to be a chef at Everest College. And then if they get a job at McDonald's, they're considered gainfully employed. Well, we all know that that's not really the truth. That's not gainful employment if you've taken out tens of thousands of dollars in student loan debt.
Yeah, I got news for you. You could have gotten a job at McDonald's without going to any college, okay? So that wasn't the point of going to the for-profit college. It's not like when they seduced you with like, oh, okay, we're gonna get you a great job. It's not like they admitted to you that great job might be flipping burgers at McDonald's.
Exactly. So now more information has come out indicating that a lot of times these colleges, specifically Everest College, will literally pay temp agencies and employers about $2,000 to hire its new graduates. After they get hired, they will remain in that company for a little while, and then they get fired, and then because of the turnover, they'll hire newer graduates. That way, their job placement rates look much higher than they really are, but they don't actually keep those jobs. They usually get let go. It's unbelievable to me that this is going on and that they get to get away with it.
So for conservatives who care about government waste and fraud, this is the epitome of it, okay? So you might think, why are they giving $2,000 a student to hire them for these fake jobs and then to fire them from the fake jobs? That seems like a lot of money to spend for the school. No. Over a decade, this school has gotten $10 billion in federal government subsidies.
That's our money.
Okay, that's our money. So what it does is it funds the education of these kids. They don't really educate them that well. Then they get the fake jobs, so then later they can go to the government and say, oh, no, look at all these graduates I got terrific jobs for. Give me more money. So that's why it's a scam. Look, there's a lot of great colleges throughout the country that have been doing a great job for decades on end. This for-profit college is a relatively recent burgeoning phenomenon where they've taken advantage of the laws that are set up to get all the federal money and to not really give the kids an education. So they maximize their profits and they minimize their losses.
And remember, they have shareholders. So at the end of the day, that's what they're most concerned about, making money, because this is, of course, a for-profit college. With other colleges, even if it's a private college, usually the money that they earn will go back into the university. They don't use it to pay off their shareholders. But in this case, it's completely different. I want to give you guys an example of why this is so bad. So usually during an economic downturn, these colleges prosper the most because they have very misleading ads. So to give you an example, between 2007 and 2011, when the economy was terrible, enrollments for Everest College soared from 62,000 to 93,000. The vast majority of the money that these companies make is through taxpayer money, as Cenk mentioned. And to give you a sense of how much of that money comes from the federal government, it's between 80 to 90% depending on which for-profit college you're talking about.
So given those numbers, obviously what they got to do is get more of those students in to get that federal money, right? And by hook or by crook. So when you discover that they've been running this scam, and think about the kids too, right? They get excited like, hey, I got a job. Man, Everest delivered for me. I got this job. I mean, whether construction is a good job or not, whatever, that's a different issue. I don't know if they really studied for it, but at least they got a job, right? And then they get fired in a couple of months because that was the plan all along.
Yes.
And they bring in the new set of suckers.
They specifically look for companies that have high turnover rates so they can keep the rotation going. Now, they also fudge the number in other ways. Let me tell you what Huffington Post found in their investigation. They found that a dental assistant graduate who worked at a one-day volunteer event as placed in the field. So if you're like an intern or a one-day volunteer, you're gainfully employed. Business graduates who got jobs moving boxes in warehouses were considered successfully employed in logistics.
And remember, they got a lot of heat for not actually getting jobs for their students, because the other thing you have to keep in mind is educating the kids actually is a high cost. They want the shareholders to get more profits, the executives to get higher salaries. They don't want more costs, they want less costs. That's really expensive to actually educate them. So that's why they need to show in the numbers, don't worry about what we did to educate them. We got all these guys hired in logistics, so it's all okay. They're moving boxes around a warehouse, if they got a job at all.
So the final piece of this story is actually the most devastating, if you ask me. A lot of these for-profit colleges will lie in the recruiting process. They will say, hey, we have high job placement numbers. You should definitely come to us. You should take out those loans. It'll be beneficial for you. In reality, it's beneficial for them. And then at the end of the day, they're lying not only to the students, but they're also lying to their shareholders. So as a result, one of these for-profit companies, known as Career Education Corporation, was recently sued by its shareholders. And the shareholders received a huge settlement. The settlement was $27.5 million. They're like, hey, you know what? You lied to us. Job placement sucks. The education you provide sucks. And so the judge ruled in the shareholders' favor. Well, here's what the reality is. When it comes to individual students, because of a Supreme Court ruling in 2011, they cannot get together and sue in a class action lawsuit. Can you believe that?
Yeah.
You can't do a class action lawsuit if you are the actual student who has been affected by these lies.
Well, the courts have slowly also been taken over by multinational corporations, and some of them through elections. When you have elections for courts, they wind up spending a lot of money in that election and getting the pro-corporate judge. There's different ways that they've corrupted the judicial system. And so the judicial system has been slowly outlawing more and more different kinds of class action lawsuits, because those are the ones that the corporations have to worry about. If you're an individual, you're going to sue Walmart or a giant for-profit college, you're not going to have enough resources.
Exactly.
The real threat is if you all get together, and that's what corporations don't want you to do at all. They don't want you to get together, have collective bargaining if you're an employee, class action lawsuits if you're the customers, etc. And they've managed to do that in so many ways. And one other thing that's really important in general about public corporations is that it creates an Achilles heel of capitalism. Now, I'm a believer in capitalism, and I think we need to protect it. But you're not doing it any favors by doing this. Here's why. The reason why shareholders keep suing the executives of companies, in this case for-profit colleges, but in a lot of instances, it's because once it's a public corporation and the executives don't own the company, they don't give a damn about the company. And they don't give a damn about the shareholders. Their job is to drive up the price by hook or by crook so they can take out as much money in compensation as possible in the short term. And if it causes the collapse of that company in the long term, they don't give a damn. So we've got to find a way to fix that, right? Otherwise, shareholders, as well as the customers, as well as the employees, will continue to get screwed ad nauseum.